Very good morning, students. How are you? Well, actually, do you know that everyone, whether you, your family member, your sister, brother, father, mother, or teacher, your friend, suffering from lots of problems and challenges. And there are variety of crises in their life. Do you know the name of crisis? What crisis actually there in the life? Do you know? Okay. Actually, different types of problem, challenges, and crisis arises from different or variety area. Like psychological crisis, sociological crisis, financial crisis. Now, if the crisis actually arises from this psychological and sociological area, then we call this crisis is psychosocial crisis. This is very important term, and this is actually the Erikson term. This term is coined by Erikson. Today's lesson is stages of psychosocial development by Erikson. Stages of psychosocial development by Erikson. This Erikson's theory and the principle actually very important, and it is highly regarded and is a meaningful concept in psychology as well as the sociology. Actually, when Erikson published his 8 stages of psychosocial development theory or the principle, and in which book do you know? In the year of 1950, and in the book Childhood and Society, and specifically in a particular chapter in that book, Erikson explained this theory of psychosocial development. What is the name of the chapter? Name of the chapter is The 8 Ages of Man. Actually, this theory of psychosocial development by Erikson is referred to as epigenetic principle. And Erikson actually believed that psychosocial principle is genetically inevitable in shaping the human development and understanding the personal development of self. Erikson's model is very meaningful, very significant, but it is very simple. Erikson actually used two different sides, opposite sides in the all stages of psychosocial development. What are the opposite sides? One is positive, another is negative. For what? To identify the first and the second terms used in each crisis stages of that psychosocial development theory. But Erikson's actually tend to use syntonic and dysyntonic term instead of using the positive and negative term. Positive and negative term, but use syntonic or dysyntonic term. For what? For what? To differentiate the two opposite sides of each crisis stage. In the psychosocial developmental stages, in each stages there are two sides. One is opposite, one is positive, another is negative. And positive, just like trust is a positive term, but mistrust is a negative term. This theory actually explains the personality and the behavior of human and understanding the personal development. Our personality grows and our personality developed. This personality development is basically depends on the sensible balance between these two opposite factors, like positive and negative. Balance, like syntonic and dysyntonic term. Balancing these two opposite sides of each crisis develop a good personality. Now, the 8 stages of psychosocial development, I'm just writing here the name of 8 stages. First is that trust versus mistrust. Second is that autonomy versus shame and doubt. So what is this third stage? There are 8 stages of the psychosocial development theory. First is that trust and mistrust. Second is that autonomy versus shame and doubt. Third stage is that initiative versus guilt. And fourth stage, what is the fourth stage? The fourth stage is that industry versus inferiority. Name of fifth stage is that identity versus role confession. And remaining 3 stages are there, 6, 7 and 8. What is the name of 6 stages of the psychosocial development theory of Erikson's? Intimacy versus isolation. intimacy versus isolation. 7.1 is that generativity versus stagnation. And what is the name of last stages of that psychosocial development theory? The name of last stages is that integrity versus despair. Now, time to mention at what ages and what stages of our developmental process these crises occurs. At the age of 0 to 1.5 years, this crisis occurs, trust versus mistrust. At the age of 1 to 3 years, autonomy versus shame and doubt, this crisis occurs. At the age of 3 to 6 years, the initiative versus guilt, this crisis appears at that particular age. And next, 5 to 12 years, the identity industry versus inferiority, this at that age these crises occur, and identity versus role confessions occur at the age of 11 to 18 years. At what age intimacy versus isolations occur? At the age of 18 to 40 years. And at the age of 30 to 65 years, this generativity versus stagnation crisis appears, and integrity versus despair appear at the old age near about 50 to 60 plus years age. And what is the name of that stage? This stage is called infancy. At the infancy stage, this crisis occurs. And at the early childhood, the crisis, autonomy versus shame and doubt, appears at the age of 1 to 3 years, and the name of the stage is early childhood. And at the play age, the age is near about 3 to 6 years, initiative versus guilt, this crisis appears. And this age, 5 to 12 years, this is called the school age. Now, 11 to 18 years, what is called the stage? The stage is called the adolescence. And the next one is that the stage is called the young adulthood age of 18 to 40 years, where the intimacy versus isolation crisis appears. Young adulthood. And the next stage is called adulthood. And at the age of old age or the mature age, near about age of more than 50 or 60 plus years age, the integrity versus despair crisis appears. And in all the stages, crisis stages of the psychosocial development, there are positive and negative virtues.